we'll officially start. Thank you, Jyoti, for being here. Jyoti's been sharing Hindu mythology stories for more than 15 years in the Dallas Metroplex, debuting originally at the Irving Public Library's programming in 2006. She was raised in a broad-minded family in the cosmopolitan city of Bombay. Her family did not follow a routine of worshiping in temples. However, Jyoti says she had the best of teachings from her family. Her mother, who was highly spiritual with personal experiences of miracles, taught her about faith in God, being open-minded to all religions, and accepting people of all colors and backgrounds, no matter their beliefs. Her father, who had traveled to faraway lands, taught her how to live a healthy life in society while maintaining boundaries. Jyoti is grateful for the Dallas Storytelling Guild, the medium between her and the public library in Irving, where she had her first experience as a Hindu mythology storyteller. Her most treasured storytelling experiences are the ones where she shared the stage with her daughter, Nina, telling tales in tandem.
Thank you. All right, so today I'm going to begin with some words I'm going to use. I thought it was holding on. I don't mind just holding it. Okay? Is that fine?
Whatever's comfortable.
So, I'm going to use certain words which you may not be able to recognize or you may not know how to pronounce because I hope to pronounce them as they do in India, but since I've lived here for more than 30 years, I tend to pronounce the D's like the D, like we pronounce D in English, but actually the D is a D, and a T is a T, very soft T, like in Athena. That's how you pronounce your regular T. But I tend to say T, like T, like Jyoti. Actually, it is Jyoti. You see. But I tend to say that. So I'm going to try and actually pronounce the way it is supposed to be pronounced. And I'm going to write down some of the words that come to mind and I'm going to use. The name of the main character in my story is going to be Bhagat. It is Bhagat, Bhagat. And then, of course, there are goddesses, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, and Ma just means mother. So these are the ones I'm going to use. If there is something else I think you may not be able to recognize, I'm not going to break the story and come write it down. So just hang on to that and just try to follow along. If at the end of the story that I can clarify and write down more words. But this is what comes to mind right now. So these are the three main goddesses that I'm going to talk about, but I do want to write Radha and Krishna, because and I can introduce all of these. Also, I think I should introduce Kali. Okay, so why don't I first introduce these goddesses and then move on to the story. So, in Hinduism, there is the goddess. Just like there is one God, there's just one. You can call it either God or goddess. It's like the energy, the superior energy that is taking care of everyone on this planet and of course many planets. There's life everywhere. So you can say that the goddess is called Shakti. Shakti means power. And Shakti is also the name of the goddess, that energy which is provided to the male half of what God is supposed to be. So you can think of it as the yin and yang sign. symbol, female and male. So there's goddess and there's God. Radha and Krishna. Radha is Shakti, the power that Krishna receives to take action. So without energy, Krishna cannot do anything and cannot be the doer. But without Krishna, nothing can get done because there's only energy and nothing's happening with the energy, it's just there. It's like the energy which is within us, which keeps us alive. Now, I could be just laying in bed, but I want to get up and do things after I've rested. So the energy is there, but then I am the doer, the user of that energy. Hence, there is only one energy, which we call either God or Goddess. But in Hinduism, we look at it as God and Goddess, because there's energy and there is the doer, right? So that's Radha and Krishna for you. Krishna in Hindu mythology was God. Krishna and Radha were God himself or itself, God. I don't mind saying it, but you might want to say they. God themselves came down in two forms. The energy, Radha, and the doer, Krishna. This was 5,000 years ago. For us it is history, although people call it mythology, because there are places, I've been to the place where Krishna was born, and I've seen the river where he used to play, and the river where he had killed, I believe, the 100-headed snake, which was eating up everything in the river. So I've seen those places. That's history to us from people from India. So that's Radha Krishna. Shakti is just pure energy or the goddess. Now Shakti has many forms, many aspects to the energy, right? So goddess of wealth is visualized as Lakshmi. She brings you wealth. She sits on a lotus. Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge or intelligence, wisdom, music. That is Saraswati. She holds a veena in her hand. A veena is a stringed instrument. Durga rides either a tiger or a lion. You may see her sitting on a tiger or a lion, which means the deeper meaning of that is she has captured even the wildest of beings on this planet. She has tamed the wildest of beings. So that is her energy, her Shakti. That's Durga Ma. She is the protector and the compassionate one. Kali is another form of Durga. When Durga fights, Durga is shown in images with like 8 to 10 arms. And in each hand she holds either a weapon or an instrument like a lotus for compassion. But she has more weapons in her hands so she can fight off whatever is negative on the planet. Now, if that doesn't work, then she can take the form of Kali, which is, you can define, which connotates, the word Kali connotates as darkness, maybe. So she can take the form of Kali, and if you have seen images of Kali or a goddess which you kind of are taken aback by, her tongue hanging out, her hair is all disheveled, and she's really fierce looking, and she has maybe a trishul, which is a trident in her hand, or she's sticking the trident or a sword into some demon. That is Kali. Because a regular war with weapons and with the other one fighting back with you and going back and forth, having a war, a battle, if that is not enough, then Kali appears and just does what she needs to. Okay? So that's another form of the goddess. And of course, I'll be here to answer questions after my story. So without any further ado, here is the story that I came up with, taking a little from here and a little from there, because there is no one way you can convey several goddesses. But I just kind of had this idea. A long, long time ago, in ancient India, there was a fisherman named Bhagat. Bhagat he had enough. He used to fish and take the fish to the marketplace and get money for it, and he took care of his family of 4. But he felt pretty rich because he always had a little bit left over with which he could help someone who didn't have enough. Every night he would thank Ma. Ma, thank you so much for all that you have given me. Indeed, I have so much that I can help my neighbors or someone in the marketplace who didn't make enough that day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now one day he was fishing, and while he was fishing, he felt water on his feet, on his bare feet, in the boat. He found out that water was seeping in. He couldn't believe that. I mean, how did this happen? He maintained his boat really well because that was his treasure. But now he tried to fix it with the little tools he had in his toolbox, but he couldn't. So he did what he knew how to do. He prayed. Wait a second, which goddess am I supposed to pray to? Oh, if only I remembered the stories my mother told me. Which is that goddess who comes to help you when you may be drowning in the waters? Really deep waters. Oh, well, I don't have time to figure that out. Goddess Lakshmi, please help me. Please come to my rescue. I'm counting on you. Goddess Shakti heard the prayer up in heaven, and she went to her wardrobe and got the right costume, got the costume of Lakshmi and put it on. And then she looked in the mirror and said, something's missing. So she opened up her dresser drawer. I don't know if this is working, by the way. I don't hear me. Do you all hear me well?
I think it's probably fine.
Okay.
Speak loud.
Yeah.
Okay. She opened up the dresser drawer and found the crown. So she placed it on her head. But then again, she looked in the mirror and said, something's missing. Oh yeah, she grabbed a bindi, a dot, and put it on her forehead. Now she was ready. And as she stepped out of the gates of heaven, a big lotus, pink lotus, appeared and said, ride me, because Lakshmi rides a lotus. Oh yes, yes. She hopped onto the lotus and she stood as the lotus did the work and sailed downward really quick and cutting through the clouds. They were almost there, right there. And Lakshmi was offering a hand to Bhagat, but Bhagat was looking down at the water, which was filling up, and it was now up to his knees. What do I do? I'm going to try and fix it. He got the toolbox and he said, there's got to be something in there that can plug the hole. But you see, this was the times before duct tape, which is probably what would have worked. So nothing else worked, and he began to pray. And he was looking upward, whereas Lakshmi was right here. He said, Saraswati, please help me. I called out to Lakshmi and she didn't come. Saraswati, please help me. Now what was Lakshmi to do? She couldn't offer help because he was praying to Saraswati. So she and her lotus turned around and went back to heaven. And as she took off her accessories, Goddess went to her closet and got the right costume and dressed like Saraswati. Opened up the dresser drawer and got the right crown to place on her head. And of course she got a bindi again and stuck it on her forehead. And now she was ready to go. As she stepped out of the gates of heaven, she saw something floating up to her. It was a big old Veena. And the Veena spoke, "Hey, if you don't take me along, Bhagat will not recognize you. So you gotta go to him in the form he is visualizing." And of course she carried the Veena and off they went, and cutting through the clouds, they were almost there. And Saraswati was giving out an arm of help to Bhagat. But where was he looking? He was looking down. The waters were getting deep. The water was rising up to his thighs now. So of course he looked up at heaven in the other direction and began to pray, "Durga, Durga Ma, yes, yes, I know you can come. I've heard many people pray to Durga for protection. Please, you've got to protect me. I have 2 little kids. I can't be dying. Please help me." And of course, Saraswati had to turn around and go back. So as Goddess went to her wardrobe and pulled out the costume, Bhagat was still waiting. Goddess got ready as Durga. And as she stepped out of the gates of heaven, along came a tiger and said, "Ooh, ride me, we can get there faster." And of course she did. And they tried to go as fast as possible before Bhagat begins to pray again. But when Durga offered 10 arms to Bhagat, Bhagat had been looking down and the water was now up to his waist. He turned around and looked up. Ma, Kali, please come and help me." And this went on, back and forth and back and forth. Of course, then it was too late. The boat toppled over and Bhagat began to drown. In that moment of fear, Bhagat called out. He rather complained, "Ma! In this one incident, I really prayed to you for help. I've never done that before. I've only showed gratitude, but you didn't come. I am so disappointed in you." And he went on, telling Ma about his life, how life is going to be for his wife and kids. And then suddenly he realized, wait a second, I'm still talking. I'm still thinking. I must be alive. So he looked down and he found himself at the bottom of the ocean, dry. He saw the rough waters on either side, but not a drop on him. Wait, how is that possible? And when he looked sideways, he saw there was a path carved out for him to the shore. And he got afraid immediately, just like we humans do, even in good times. There must be a sea monster or something out to get me. Reveal yourself. And he waited. But nothing showed up. And in that moment he knew what had happened. It all came back to him. He threw himself down on the ground, gazed up, brought his hands in prayer position at his heart, and said, "Thank you, Mom. I know it was you." Because you see, what had happened was, when he said "Ma," as he was drowning, he just called out to Goddess in her pure energy, no form, no name. That is what goddess is. And he remembered his mother had told him, if you're praying to a certain form of god or goddess, you've got to be patient. Because you see, she has to do a lot to come to you in that image. So it's better to pray to God or goddess just as father or mother. And that's what he had done in that moment of fear. Ah, yes, it worked. Yes, talking to mom always works. And if there were any words or names you didn't understand, if I had any more, feel free to ask and I can spell them out for you. Also, if you have questions, I'll try and answer.
There was one, I think it was Shakti that what came up to her and said, take me,
Veena.
yeah.
The letter V, and you may have heard the name of a girl, because these can be names of women. In India, a lot of people name their children by names of gods, forms of God and goddess, hoping that if they keep on chanting that name, hey Veena, get me this, hey Veena, do this, they will be liberated. So that's not how it works though. Your mind has to be there, not with your daughter or your friend Veena. So Veena is an instrument, it's a stringed instrument, kind of like a guitar, but different. Yeah. And she holds that because she is the goddess of music and knowledge, intelligence, wisdom. Yes?
So I think you described Shakti and Radha as both energy.
Yes, Radha is Shakti.
Okay, they are the
Radha
same.
is
Right.
Shakti. Yeah.
Right, that was my question.
Good question, because it's like me. But we call her Radha. Is she Shakti? Yes, she is Shakti. And she came with Krishna. So there was a birth here and a birth in a different village. So he was not in Vrindavan. He grew up in Vrindavan. But he was born, Krishna was actually born in a prison cell where his parents had been kept captive by Krishna's mother's brother, because he had heard this Akashvani, which means a voice from the sky, that his 8th nephew is going to kill him, because he wasn't a good ruler. He was the king, or at that time the prince, but he wasn't a good ruler, and he was to be killed. It was a prophecy that he heard by his 8th nephew. So he didn't even let them have the first 7. He was so afraid, he just put them in a prison cell. And that's where they had all the babies, and they were killed right on the spot. But anyway, so I don't want to go into that story, but Krishna was saved miraculously by a leela of his own. A leela is a drama played by God. So basically, it's a drama. So he was saved, and then he was taken to Vrindavan, which is where he grew up, to maybe 8 or 10, and then he started going off and doing his thing. So he was born, and then Radha was born in a different village.
And when did they?
And they did not get married. Just saying, in case you're wondering. So Radha in the images is called his consort, not his wife. And all gods have a consort. Lord Shiva was married to Parvati, and Vishnu was married to Lakshmi. I think they saw each other, or I don't know if the parents knew each other or what it was, but they knew each other, Radha and Krishna, since childhood. Yeah. I'm not sure what age. Yeah. Yes. Radha was born in Barsana, Barsa. I think that's where she was born. I think. But I know that when they talk about Radha and sing about her, they talk about the place Barsana. Or they even call her. So God and goddesses, gods and goddesses can have 108 names, each one. And Vishnu, I think, has 1,008 names. So one of the names of Radha is Barsane Wali, which means the one from Barsana.
So, are they born, is it like, help me understand, is it like a journey to become a god, or is it like they are born with a power, they already are a god, and they just have a realization of their becoming, or how does that happen?
I love that question. So here's, okay, I'm not going to add my 2 pennies. I'll tell you what it says in the books. By the way, am I supposed to be holding this still? Are we recording this?
It's recorded.
Either
It is
way, I'm
recording?
still recording.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Yeah.
So,
If it's more
yes.
comfortable to sit it on the table and
No, because I move around.
okay.
I'm a Vata. That's a whole different language. That's the language of Ayurveda. Vata means the element of air. I'm air. That's my element. So I gotta keep moving. I can't sit still. So, anyways, so wonderful question. That was you. I love it. So God comes down, like I said, either to play a leela. A leela is drama. When the drama is spiritual or religious, well, nah, it's not religious. Spiritual. When the drama is being played by the superior power, it's called leela. The word changes, okay, to show that this is divine. It's a divine drama, so it's called leela. So God comes down to earth and has come down so many times, right? We all know Jesus also was sent by God. Jesus is the Son of God. He comes down either to play a leela or to put an end to evil at that time. If there's a lot of evil going on in the world, he comes to put an end. And maybe he sent COVID to us because there was a lot going on and he needed to end some of the manifestation. And Shiva comes into play. Lord Shiva is the destroyer, meaning he puts an end to the life that has lived. So here is the Trinity of Hinduism. Did I bring the right one? No, I didn't. I brought Shiva and Parvati. Yeah, so Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati. This was not the first time she was his wife. She had been his wife before in previous lives. Anyways, so I have one poster which is in the art room, and that is Shiva, and there's Brahma here, and Vishnu here. So Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the protector or the maintainer, and Shiva is the one that puts an end to life and transitions it to wherever it goes. And a lot of people pray to, I had to look down to see which shirt am I wearing today, because yesterday I was wearing Shiva shirt. This is Radha and Krishna, by the way. Yeah. So Shiva, a lot of people pray to Lord Shiva because he is known to be the very first yogi, the first one who could unite the energies. And also they pray to him because they want their death to be peaceful. Because as we start aging, we worry about, oh my God, we see people suffering. Generator, Lord Brahma, operator, Lord Vishnu, and D, destroyer, Lord Shiva. So when we think destroyer, we think, it must be a bad god who destroys. But think about it. After fall comes winter, when some of the trees have to die, so you can have spring. So, yeah. Okay, I have 15 minutes. Any more questions? And of course, I'll be there in the art room. You can still ask me questions later. Yes.
can you talk a little bit more about the elements that you were referencing? Oh, sorry.
It's not working, right?
Well, the point is for the recording, not for us. That's why.
Yeah, they're recording.
It's for the video for YouTube.
The elements, yeah, that is Feng Shui.
Oh, okay.
That has nothing to do with the gods and goddesses, but I'll tell you a little bit about it because I want you to understand that has nothing to do with God.
Okay.
Feng Shui, and in fact, I am still a Feng Shui consultant. If someone, needs help, I will help them with it. But I don't really, if you pick up my business card, it's not gonna say Feng Shui and Vastu and all of that on this. Because now I have so much faith in God that I don't need to enhance my earth anymore. And the house that I bought in Salina, I didn't even look at anything, at directions or anything. Because, what happens is like when you really want to see, is it matching up to what I want, to how I want my luck to be. But the beauty of that is when you have the kind of faith. I bought this house and then I looked just to see, not that I was gonna change my mind, I'd already purchased it. And when I looked at the directions, my bedroom was in the southwest of the house. And my altar, these are the two main things for me. And my altar, I actually now have a temple. I've dedicated that whole room to keep my idols and stuff. And I sit there and meditate in the mornings. So that front room, which is actually the living room, is really a spare room for us, we don't need it. That is in the northeast. It just works out that way. God is looking out for you, or if you want to say God is, same thing to me. God is watching over you. But, so what I want to say about that is, there are three kinds of luck in your life. You are born with heaven luck, which comes from whatever you have done in your past lives. That is the philosophy of Hinduism. So whatever you do is called karma. Not what you get back. As they think over here, I think some people think what they get back is karma. But the word karma means action. Anything you do is karma. Okay? And if you want to go deeper, anything you think is karma. And that is very scary to think about. But I can explain that. Well, in one sentence, I'll just say, the first thought, the seed thought that pops in your mind is not your karma. If you just thought, oh, my brother did this to me, that's not bad karma. But then what you do with that thought, the next thing you do, the next thing you think or make plans to do, oh, I'm going to call him and give him a piece of my mind. That is karma. Okay? So, that comes from heaven. That is your heaven luck. You are born with that. Then there is something called earth luck, where you can enhance the elements so they are not against each other. Okay? And the third luck is your own effort. How hard do you work, or what do you do in order to achieve what you want? Three kinds of luck. So Feng Shui is earth luck. You are placing wood where wood prefers to be in lay language, okay? In its own space. Earth has a space of its own. fire should never be in the north because north is for water. Fire should be in the south. So if you have a fireplace in the north, that's not good for you. So that's what I go into the homes. I used to, now I hardly do that because not many people know about that skill that I have. So, but if they hear it by word of mouth, then of course I'll go help them. Because then I think it is the will of God that I do this for them. So yeah, I used to go in with my compass and check their directions and tell them what's good for them and what's not. Yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to get clear on the role of the feminine.
Yes.
So you said there's the Godhead, but they're all male manifestations, right? So Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma, and like your shirt, there's always this male-female manifestation, right? Because one's the energy and one's the action. So is there an idea about the feminine somehow being part of that Godhead, or the women that are associated with them, like how Shiva has power? Yes.
Yes.
So is
Wonderful
that,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, great. So, and I'll write it down too. Okay, so Lakshmi, Saraswati, so Durga is Parvati, okay? Same thing.
So are they seen as
Lakshmi
as a
and
pair?
Vishnu are actually a married couple. Shiva and Parvati. So that means Durga, which is Parvati, is married to Lord Shiva. Okay. And Saraswati goes with Brahma. They are not married couple. Radha and Krishna are not married couple,
They're always operating together.
but they operate together. Yeah, they are one. Brahma and Saraswati are one. The creator and knowledge, creator and wisdom go together. Yes.
So essentially, is this the same Godhead being reflected in all these different couples or groupings?
So God in Hinduism has 3 forms. It's like, think of a corporation, right? You can have, like, yes, you have the CEO, but think of the corporation being headed by three managers. Okay, the general manager, the finance manager, and the operating manager. Okay. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva make up God. That's why I said G for generator, O for operator, which is Vishnu, D for destroyer. So all 3 of them are God. But if you want to get technical, then Brahma was laying, it's there in the Holy Scriptures, this which I'm saying. Brahma was just laying, and maybe it was a thought that came to him and emerged from him all these beings. All these beings were created, and it is said, I think, that Vishnu and Shiva came from Brahma. I think. I don't remember that exactly how, but yes, they came from Brahma.
Thank you.
Can you talk about Kali and like how, like her relationship to, she's, I'm guessing like in that destroyer category.
Oh, she
Birth
is.
and death and.
Yeah.
birth.
She's not about birth and death, that is Lord Shiva.
Okay.
Kali destroys evil. If there is evil, if someone is abusing you physically, emotionally, verbally, whatever, then you can pray to Kali. You can actually pray to Durga. It can be taken care of by Durga, because she is the compassionate one and she's the protector. But if it is horrible and this person probably wants to kill you or something, not you, one, if one is feeling threatened for his own life. You could pray to Kali, you know, the ultimate destroyer of evil. Demonic energy. She destroys demonic energy.
Curious, is Ma,
Sorry?
is Ma related to Shakti?
Ma is just mother. Mother. So I have a bracelet which I will wear for my next show that has Ma written in all languages. Yeah. Ma just means mother.
So in practice of Hinduism, whether religiously or within your own home and personal life, how does connection with these different divine feminine figures, how does that show up in these different aspects? How do you connect? How do you further learn and study? I know you talked about prayer. What does that consist of?
I love that question. That's really deep, and that really will bring home the understanding of Hinduism if it is explained well, which I will try. Before I forget, I want to make an announcement that I do gratitude gatherings. Oh, and it's there, it says that on my business card, weekly gratitude gatherings. And I'm going to make it hybrid so people from all over can attend. They are completely free, and we will just be grateful. And we can share what we are grateful for. And just like laughter is contagious, gratitude is contagious. So when we share what we are grateful for, and if everyone's sharing that, even if you could not, before you come into that gathering, even if you couldn't think of a thing to be grateful for because your life sucks, you will remember stuff that you can be grateful for, and you'll be so thankful. So that's going to be completely free, once a week. TBD, to be decided when and which day and time I'm going to do this. I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking Sunday, because Sunday people go to church and a lot of people don't, so they need a little something. Maybe Sundays. Okay, 2 minutes. In my own home, I have Ganesha, I have all deities in my own home, almost all. You could have, I'm wearing a guru's photo in my neck. And this pendant is one of the gurus that I have. Actually, he's the gratitude guru I found on this trip that I went to India. I just got back from India maybe 4 weeks ago. So I found him on this particular trip, and I resonated so much because all he teaches is gratitude. So in your own home, you can have deities, whatever you believe in, or whatever you wish, whatever you are seeking. If you're seeking wisdom, you would have Saraswati, right? So you can put anything you want, and you can put all your gurus' photos. A guru is someone who brings you away from darkness to light. Gu is darkness and Ru is light. That's the meaning of guru, from darkness to light. So you can put your mother's picture if you want to, if she enlightened you, awakened you. I know enlightened is a big word, but you can be awakening a little at a time to get to enlightenment. And I'm going to wrap it up here, but I'm speaking again at 2 o'clock. If you have other questions that you want to ask, and if you want to listen to some more stories, I may throw in a couple more small stories. You can come back. And of course, I'm here all day, so you can come talk to me in the art room.